Hello and welcome back to the Hardworking Man Podcast. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Heath, and today we're just going to talk a little bit about what it's like to have a YouTube channel, because it's different than we ever expected. And it's something that I think looking back, I wish I would have started sooner, because it's been a lot of fun, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot different than I expected it to be.
Right, and that's, people that are a little nervous or scared to start one. We always say just start it. You'll figure it out as you go, which is what we've done.
And I think a lot of it depends on what you're starting it for. Like, we didn't start our YouTube channel to create a business, which it's sort of turning into, because YouTube can be a business, which there's a lot of benefits to that. We started it because our kids wanted to, and we've learned a lot of benefits to it, but we also learned how much work that it can be. So some of the benefits are that we learned from other people are you're documenting your life. So it, potentially will be there forever for people to watch and look up, and your kids to look back on, or you to look back on and be like, wow, 2 years ago we were there.
Right. Well, and especially for women, we're never documented in hardly anything with our families. No pictures of us. We're the ones taking the pictures. We're the ones, doing all the things behind the scenes. So this is kind of fun. I just realized just the other day, oh my gosh, my grandkids and my kids can look back and see me at this age, because I'll be old to them at that point. So they'll be like, look at Grandma. She used to lift giant logs.
Grandma used to be young.
Right. So that's kind of fun to think about that, as long as YouTube continues to be a platform.
Right. Or if you can at least access your videos. And so years ago, there was just a online forum I was part of called Michigan Sportsman. And on that, I owned a property and I documented. I created my own little blog on that, I guess. And when I did work out there, I documented it just with pictures and typed what I did. I planted these trees. I planted this food plot. And over the years, I loved looking back and seeing what I did when, and seeing a tree that I planted 2 years ago that was a foot tall was now 3 or 4 feet tall. And YouTube's an even more, more intense version of that, because it's all on video. So you'll be able to look and be like, wow, you had a really messy wood yard, and then be like, look how pristine it is now.
Yeah. Or we thought it was messy then. Look at it now. I feel like that's more your progression.
Right. But it's been a lot of fun, but the amount of work, I guess it all depends on what you do with your YouTube channel. We are the type of people that constantly try to get better. And it's weird when you look at yourself versus how you looked at others. Like a year ago, when we went to our first Paul Bunyan show ever, and there were channels there with 6,000 or 7,000 subscribers. And I was like, oh my gosh, those are big channels. Look, there's this person or there's that person. And Rachel at that time didn't really know who they were.
Anybody was.
But now we're over 12,000 subscribers, and some people refer to us as a bigger channel, but I don't feel like we are at all whatsoever.
No.
But I don't know that I ever will feel that we are, because that's just the type of people that we are.
Well, and also it's not reflective in our day-to-day life. People don't recognize us out and about just from YouTube. We know people from our kids and from school and from sports, but we're not recognized. So I don't think you're any kind of a big anything until you're recognized. Maybe.
I did have a kid from my son's baseball team take a selfie with me because he said I was famous.
Said you're famous. If we still now, when I'll say something about the YouTube channel, and friends of ours are like, oh, you guys have a YouTube? How's that going? How's Heath's little project? And I'm completely excluded from that in their eyes. So that's kind of funny to me.
But on a flip side, when we go to somewhere in the community of firewood and whatnot, we are definitely recognized. And it's weird, with people coming up to us and wanting pictures, or, you get to know people through comments, through people interacting with you. And it is cool. It is fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's a really fun time. So,
and we've met a ton of great people. But I'll say honestly, one of the things that I really like about having a YouTube channel, and one of the things that I look forward to being able to do more of, is helping other people, because that's one of the reasons we started it. And the bigger we get, the more we're able to help other people through anything, whether it be simply some point, if we're big enough that us simply mentioning someone or mentioning another channel or anything will help them out, that will be cool. But I love giving stuff away, and having a channel, as you grow, you're going to have companies reach out to you and say, hey, we'd like to send you this product, and we get them every day, all the time. We turn 90% of them away. But when we do accept one, we always ask for extra to give to you guys, the viewers, people who listen to us, because I love doing that. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, why not give it away if they're willing to? And they're always willing to. So, note to some of you who are getting these offers, feel free to ask for more. Like, the most they're going to do is say, no, we can't do that. It's not in the budget. But we always ask.
We always
for
ask,
more.
no matter what it is. And sometimes we're
what.
surprised at companies that will say no when it's a smaller value item. And sometimes we're surprised with a higher value item when they're like,
sure.
Absolutely. And so then I'm like, sweet, we get to give away a $700 item to somebody who watches our channel. So we love that.
That's
like,
fun.
So that is a lot of fun, and I love doing it.
Yeah, but now I'm to where, like, I don't want to include these smaller products unless they're going to pay me, because my time is worth money. And that's also something else to learn about running your YouTube, is your time is valuable. I mean, we all have other jobs on top of this, and we put a lot of hours into our YouTube videos, into the filming of it. Not just like, you don't just start filming and that's it. Like, there's a lot of prep work, the ideas, the coming up with it, getting everything set up, filming it all, which takes, 3 times as long as actually doing the work, and then editing it, creating thumbnails, loading it. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And if a company wants to pay me to put their product out there, then that makes it a little bit more worth your time and makes it more of the business side. So I know some people think, oh, it's just turning into advertisements. It's like, you are sold anytime you turn on your TV or open your phone. People are selling you things. So we're not gonna, sell you anything that's like absolute crap just to get $1. But, don't knock people that are, we're doing this for free. So
I mean, I feel it's a fine line to walk too, because like I said, we turn down a lot, and it could be because it doesn't fit the channel. There have been items that have been valued at a few $1,000s that I would have loved to have, that I'm like, no, because it doesn't fit the channel. And our channel's not a firewood channel, but it's an outdoor channel, and if something doesn't fit...
I mean, some things do not make sense.
It
like
just
a
doesn't make
waterproof
sense.
mattress cover.
That's not something I really wanted, but...
No, but I mean, like, how are we going to...
These are things that we get sent to.
I instantly think, what kind of video are we going to make? And I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense.
But, we don't want to become... We're not for sale. I mean, I guess we are for sale for the right dollar amount. But the value of my opinion, I want to mean something. So if I tell you I like something and I think it's a good product, I want it to have value, not just be like, oh, well, they gave him one, so he's going to say it's great. Because I've had stuff where initially, and I've shared it with viewers, I'm like, I'm not really that impressed with this. Like, it's okay. Right. And maybe in your situation it'll work good, but I'm not loving it. And some of those products I've just quit using, and some of them I've grown to love. Mm-hmm. But it's a tough line to walk, and it's all part of having a YouTube channel, because you have to decide with your channel what your channel's for.
Right. Well, and you're a brand. That's the biggest thing to understand. Like you said, like, where do you want to take your channel? Is it just purely post a video here and there recreationally? Well, then this probably doesn't apply to you. But if you're hoping to make money out of it, you have to view it as a brand. Hardworking Man is a brand. It is not Heath. It's a brand, right? Heath and Rachel are 2 separate people living our own separate private lives, where Hardworking Man is the product, the brand that you see, that we choose to show you.
And part of that being like something I never really considered when we started the YouTube channel, but all of it, I love buying stuff to put on the channel, or putting stuff on the channel. The more stuff that I can get that I would have bought otherwise and we can put on the channel, I feel the more beneficial our channel is to others. Because one of the main reasons I started it, besides the fact that my kids wanted to, was to be able to help others make decisions. What's worth buying, what's not worth buying, what is going to be a good investment or a bad investment. And whether it's something I buy or something that's sent to us, I feel like we're now at the point where we're being able to help people be like, you know what, that would fit my situation, or it wouldn't. And when that comes to us buying stuff, it helps because it's helping me be able to buy things because it creates content.
Yeah.
And it's a tax write-off because,
Right.
face it or not, once you're a monetized YouTube channel, you're a business. So I tell people I work with all the time, if you have an expensive hobby, it makes sense to turn it into a YouTube channel because, one, it's fun. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. You meet a lot of great people. But if you have an expensive hobby that you're going to spend money on anyways, you can now help people by helping them spend their money more wisely. And that's all a tax benefit to you if you can write off these purchases versus just buying them for yourself as fun or a hobby. Like, let's be honest, the people that wrote tax laws is Congress. Most of Congress is business owners, so those laws are written to help business owners. And as a YouTube content creator of a monetized channel, you are now a business owner, whether you like it or not. It's
Right.
what you are, and you can do with it what you want. And we are trying to grow, but trying to, I guess, remain, what am I trying to say? Authentic?
Genuine.
We want to grow. We want to do what's best for the channel, but we want to stay genuine and we want to stay authentic and true to who we are as people.
Right. Like it's not a persona. When I say like Heath and Rachel are separate private people, you only get very small little snippet of what we really are like and what our lives are really like. And that's what I mean by that. But
Well, that's why we did this podcast too, because, in our videos where we're out working, that's just part of who we are. In these podcasts, I feel like you guys get to know more of who we are as people.
Because
where we came from, what we are, who we are.
If you follow anybody that talks about social media marketing and, trying to promote your business via social media platforms, you're going to hear this said over and over and over, where people they'll buy from you. If they feel like they know you, they feel like they trust you, and they feel like they like you. So that's why video content is so big and booming right now, is because that's the best way to get to know someone and decide if you like them or not, and if you trust their opinion or not. So this is all the goal, and it should be your goal for your YouTube channel, because if people don't feel like they know you or like you or trust you, they're not going to continue to watch you. So,
and let's be honest, I know a lot of people have said this, and I feel the same way when I watch channels. You can tell if people are authentic and if people are legit, or if people are trying to, I guess, create a business or benefit themselves versus helping others,
Right. Like, it would be such a nightmare to me, like, if somebody said, oh, I met that Rachel and she's nothing like she says she puts out there.
Right. Like, when we get the comments of people that have met us and they're like, oh my gosh, these guys are as real as it gets. Like, that's important to us because we don't want to pretend we're something we're not.
No.
We want to be fun, be educational, be entertaining, be all of these things because it's what our channel's growing into. Yeah. But it's truly who we are. And we also want to continue to improve. So I don't know that we'll ever be happy with where we're at, which might sound bad, like they're never happy. But I feel like that's how you become successful, is continually trying to improve and get better.
Right. So, I guess that's a little, word of advice. And if you feel like you're struggling in your channel, then, first and foremost, we're entertainers out here, right? Like, we want a video that people want to watch.
Have fun with it, but keep it entertaining.
If you don't find your own video entertaining, then you need to figure out how to make it entertaining. If that means editing things down a lot so you only get a short little snippet of something, or, just being more yourself on camera.
Which is easier said than done.
Right. So that's really a huge roadblock for a lot of people. But kind of, are you entertained by your own videos? Are you wanting to see more? Are you getting bored? Are you finding yourself wanting to, look on your phone in the middle of it? Or do you find it great? So that's kind of how we've been editing our videos lately. Like, I'll go through a first time and then Heath will watch it and he'll be like, "Brent, my ADD kicked in. I don't want to watch this anymore."
Yeah, if I get bored, then I shorten it or I change it or I flip it or whatever. But I guess the reason we're doing this podcast is because we get asked a lot of questions about, how do you do this? How do you do that? By people that view us as being a successful YouTube channel, which hopefully we are, and hopefully we'll become more successful. But this way we can sort of, I guess, let you look into our mindset and how we look at things, how we handle our video production, our dealing with companies reaching out to us, are dealing with product placement, with just everything. You know, if this can help one person out, then I feel like we were successful.
Right. Like bouncing ideas off people, seeing how other people do things will help you in your decisions, hopefully.
Which is what we're all about.
That's
helping
what we're all
other
about.
people.
Right. Yes. So I was going to say something. I can't remember now.
That's my wife. I literally could be telling you a story. And I was actually talking with one of my bosses the other day who his nephew wrestles with my son. And they had him sing the national anthem before our team tournament the other day because they didn't have anyone to sing it. And they said, captains, pick someone to sing it. And the first kid they picked actually manned up and said, I'll sing the national anthem. I ain't scared, which I love because that's how we teach our kids. Like, don't let other people's views of you impact who you are. Because he wasn't a singer by any means, but he went out there. He wasn't shy. He did his best, and it was great. And I love that about it. But anyway, while I was talking with my boss, there were 2 or 3 times during our conversation where I'd be telling him something, and then I would forget what I said. And I'm like, what was I just saying? And we'd have to go back through. And sometimes I figure it out and I can keep going. And other times I'm like, well, forgot. And that's sort of what Rachel just did. So that's my life. That's the life of living with me, the hardworking man.
That's because you have a hard time waiting for someone to finish talking because your thought is there and then you lose it if you don't interrupt and say it immediately.
Yeah, it's a medical issue. It's not me being rude.
Now, so any other advice for the YouTube? What it's like to have a YouTube channel?
Have fun with it, but it is a lot of work. Like, if you're not having fun, if you're not benefiting from it, it's not going to be for everybody. You might start a channel and because we were like, hey, start a channel, and you might love it. You might be crazy successful, depending what your view of success is, or it just might not be for you. So if it's not for you, I guess don't feel like you failed. It just maybe wasn't your thing. It wasn't your jam. Not if everyone could do it and be successful and have fun with it, then everyone would have a YouTube channel. It's not going to be that way.
Right. There are little tips and tricks. I mean, there's so much information available out there as to, you know, how to use hashtags and keywords for titles and, you know, to make a thumbnail that is, you know, makes people want to click on it, like the words you put on it, what it looks like. Some people, I don't think, put a lot of time into it, and some people put a lot of time into it, and it's...
And a lot of times you can tell, but sometimes the channels that people don't put a ton of time into it catch on, and who knows what it is that catches your channel on.
So I'm like, it's all just kind of trial and error. We'll do, you know, release, what time do you release the video at? Does that matter? Like, we're still trying to figure this all out, and it's, you know... We never know what's going to happen.
Something that a lot of people recommend that we haven't done and haven't been able to do is just have a consistent release schedule, which someday I'd like to try, but I don't know that we ever will because of how Rachel and I operate. I'd love it. It's been my plan. It's been my goal, but we haven't got there. So maybe one day we'll get there and we'll be like, wow, we should have done this years ago. But so far we haven't, and I feel like we still do pretty good.
Well, you don't have a consistent work schedule,
which makes
that
it
is
tough.
The biggest issue.
My days off constantly change. They rotate. I'm on a rotating schedule. My hours stay the same, but they're not conducive to life because I work a night shift, which anyone who's worked a night shift knows that it's tough to go from night shift back to day shift on your days off, and with my days constantly changing. So I guess maybe that's an excuse, or maybe that's why we don't have a consistent release schedule, because we could try to get ahead, which we've tried, and maybe one day we will, and then we can do that, and maybe we'll love it, or maybe we won't. But not everyone's going to be the same. What works for us might not work for you. What works for you might not work for us. But that's why we're just sharing, I guess, with you what we do, sort of how we handle things, and, you know, a lot of it we get, the bigger you get, the more comments you're going to get, good and bad. You know, we get comments sometimes that are like, oh, must be nice. Like, must be nice. Like, do you understand how much work has been put into this? And we're not complaining, trust me, because if we didn't want to put the work in, we wouldn't have a channel. But it's not like...
Don't discount the work we put in it.
Right. You know? Like that offends me sort of, because people don't understand how much we've done to get where we are, or how much channels do to get where they are. Like, it's not a must be nice. It's a wow. You know, like when I see other channels get there, I'm excited for them. When channels reach out to us and they're like, I just got my first company that reached out to me ever. I'm like, that's awesome. And it will continue to grow and continue to get better as long as you do. But I am excited for other people where sometimes people aren't excited for you. They're like, oh, well, it must be nice. I've worked harder than you my whole life and I didn't get that. You know what? Life isn't fair. And if you think it is, one of the stories I love about our kids is, what was it? One of them was at school and their teacher said, well, that's not fair. And they said, well, my mom always says life isn't fair. Like it isn't fair.
Life is what you make of it. And you can either have life happen to you or you can make your life happen. And a lot of people like to just sit and play a victim and have life happen to them. So if we just sat here and put a video out and did literally nothing to try to promote it or make any changes and make it anything better, and we never got any views and nobody subscribed, then we'd be like, well, this sucks or whatever. But instead we're like, how can we improve? That video bombed. Like, what do we need to do differently? We're going to make this happen. We're going to, and we go on to all these other channels. We watch their videos. We comment. Like, being part of the community is huge. Like, people get to know who you are. They recognize your name. And then they'll go and watch your videos too. So you have to be open and willing to be a part of it all and not just sit back and wait for it to happen.
So that's another thing, like, know as a viewer, as a listener, as somebody that, if you know Rachel and I at Hardworking Man, if you reach out to us, we never are going to be too big to be like, oh, I'm not going to answer this guy because he's just a small channel. It doesn't matter to us. It's the people. It's the people that we know. So whether you have 100 subscribers or 1 million subscribers, you're a person to us, and we're never going to be too big. Like, we get emails like, oh, I don't want to bother you,
No, you're not bothering us.
You're not, and we do our best to answer every comment, every email, like everything that we can. And as we grow, it's going to be harder, and we're getting bigger and we get more. But if you send us an email and we don't reply, it's not because we don't care, because we don't have time for you. It's because probably I read it and I want Rachel's input and I forgot.
Right.
Like, so we're always going to do our best to answer questions we can. And that's sort of what this video or this podcast is about, is sharing our experience, sharing sort of how we make those decisions, because we get a lot of these questions and we still don't know. I wish sometimes that I could talk to some bigger channels that have grown to 100,000 subscribers and say, hey, how did you handle this as you were growing? And maybe those guys are open to it and maybe they're willing to help us, but I don't know if they are or that they are. But you can know that we will always do what we can to help others, because that's what we were founded on and that's what we're all about. So if we ever don't ever think we're too big, not that we are now, because I don't feel we are, but don't ever think we're too big for you to ask us, because we won't care, because we do care, because we don't care how big you are, we care who you are.
Well, especially if we're, at like the Paul Bunyan show or any of these events and people are like, oh, I saw you, but I didn't want to bother you. Like, we're there to interact with people, to meet new people. So you're not ever going to bother us. And just don't be mean to me.
And that's part of what I don't be mean to Rachel. You can be mean to me, don't be mean to Rachel.
Oh gosh, if y'all could, we delete the really mean ones and block them, I feel like you would.
I think it's for their safety though, because Rachel has some fans out there. So if these people saw it, they might be like, who's this guy? Where's he live? I'm going to go take care of him.
No, I mean, we screenshot. Maybe one of these days I'll read that.
Yeah, we could do a reaction video where I'll read some of these comments about Rachel.
Oh my
you guys can see.
You'd be like, how can they be so mean to her? I don't know, because they don't even know me.
Sometimes I question whether I should still be married to her after I read these comments, because they're like, man, you poor guy.
They think he'd be lucky to get divorced or leave me. That woman, you'd be lucky to get rid of that woman. I'm like, whoa.
So if you get those comments, don't feel bad, because everybody gets them.
Everybody gets them, apparently.
Like channels I followed as they've grown, like Outdoors with the Morgans. I know he addresses this from time to time. Like, he gets terrible comments. Everyone's going to, because it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. There's going to be somebody who knows how to do it better, who's going to tell you suck. And if you let that stuff bother you, you can't let that stuff bother you.
Well, no,
it's going to a little bit, but you gotta just be like, you know what?
That's why I said, don't be mean.
I feel bad for those people sometimes when I'm like, man, this is how you feel like you have to be, how you have to interact with someone else, and I don't know why. If it's to make themselves feel better, or if they're just doing it just to be get attention on the internet. I don't know what it is, but
They might just not, they need to just double think before, sometimes you can type stuff and then you just go, that's probably not what I should enter it and as.
But as a content creator, as a YouTube channel or Instagram or whatever it is you do, you're going to have thick skin. If you don't have thick skin, if you can't let it roll off your back, this probably isn't the jam for you.
No, like we welcome different ideas or, how to improve.
Yeah,
or,
you don't have to agree with me. I'm wrong a lot.
We love that. Like, because Heath will be like, I never thought of that. And then now it's a great idea. So, like, don't ever feel like you can't give, like, hey, maybe you should try this or do it this way. I've learned, like, this is the best way. Like, we love that. Like, that's feedback and that's fun interactions. It's just when people are...
And honestly, sometimes
mean.
Rachel will take a comment from a viewer better than she would take it from me if I said the exact same thing. So,
well, I just kind of laugh. Even though they're mean, it still makes me laugh about it.
I don't say mean things to Rachel. I was talking about other stuff.
He told me that I look like a linebacker.
I did not tell you. Women twist things like crazy.
He did that yesterday.
No, I did
watching
not.
The football
Totally
game.
Out of context.
He said, you're one of the big guys. You look like one of those big guys. You're like a linebacker. And my son whipped his head over with big eyes, like, looked at me.
I don't even remember what I was saying because I had worked all night and I was tired.
And he'd been under the influence of whiskey. You don't remember this?
I remember it, but I know that I was innocent in my comment, and you twisted it like
it was a commercial and there was like some guys, some football players dancing, and
because they
dance.
That's what it was because their celebration dance was how Rachel dances.
He goes, you look just like that big guy right there.
Because he had her dance moves. It had nothing to do with size. I was showing the dance moves that Rachel had from the guy that out of the group of dancers was the big guy. And she's like, oh, you telling me I'm a linebacker? I didn't call her a linebacker. You called me
that. I didn't say that. And then...
Shit, come on, man.
To the point where Zach whipped his head at me with big eyes like, oh, what are you going to do, Mom? And I was like, see? He did say that.
No, because I knew exactly how you would take it. And sometimes I play on that. I'm like Donald Trump in ways. I know how to say things that people are going to take, but it's like it's a game I play, sort of. And I know it's not always in my best interest, but I can't help myself.
I mean,
that was 100% innocent comment that I knew she would twist, and she did.
I didn't twist it. Our son agreed with me.
They both. Because she's influenced our children to twist things against me.
I mean, yes. There was somebody who commented, not on any of our videos, just out in a public forum, comparing me to the Triple L. What's her name? Zoe. Yeah, and he's like, well, that girl from Hard Working Man's starting to grow on me.
She's a little bit older and a little bit thicker, but I'm starting to really like her.
I was like...
Is that a compliment or a slam? But you were growing on him, so you know what?
I know. I was like, that kind of hurts. And I went, but that's true. So
you are a little bit older.
I'm older and thicker.
So like a linebacker.
I don't know. I'm built like a linebacker.
That is not what I said.
I was like, I can't be mad at that. It wasn't. He said he was growing on him, so I guess that's good. But no. You just can't,
We got really sidetracked there, but that's what our podcasts are. It's just us being us. And
I do think a lot of people take it personal because, how we said, we put so much into it, and then to just be criticized the whole thing, you're like, what the heck? But it's fine because that means people are watching it. Every comment that comes through, I'm like, I don't care if it's good or bad. It's helping our algorithm because it's showing YouTube, Google that people like our watch our videos. They're commenting, they're interacting, which is also why we comment on every single comment back because it's interaction. So you got to work this algorithm. Go ahead and hate on us and comment all you want because
and this is something I learned from bigger channels like Dan from Back 40 because he gets the same comments. He's got his wife on there. People will make comments like whatever. And so when we're at one of these events and we're talking with Dan or we're talking with Brad or whoever, and we're like, how do you handle these? And they're like, you know what I just put? Thanks for watching. Yeah. So that's what I do a lot now, and I learned that from Dan because he's somebody who's willing to help others. If you got questions, he'll answer them a lot, So that's what I learned. Like, thanks for watching. You don't have to be offended by it or delete it or whatever because it is what it is. It's out there.
They're watching your video
just
and
say
they're
thanks
commenting.
For watching.
So thank you. Appreciate
People will call Rachel clickbait all the time when I wish they would just look up clickbait. So in my opinion, what clickbait is if you have a thumbnail or a title that is not what the video is. So when it shows Rachel like picking up a big round and putting it on the splitter, and she's an attractive woman, and then they'll be like, oh, nice clickbait thumbnail, but she's doing that in the video. Like, it's
Right.
not a clickbait. That
Like-
would be as if she was doing that, and then it was me picking up the rounds and putting them on and doing all the work. That would be clickbait. But when she's actually doing it, it's not clickbait. But one thing I've learned, because we get those comments a lot, when people say, oh, nice clickbait there, I just say, well, thanks for clicking. Like, you know.
It worked, apparently, because you clicked on it enough to watch it and comment.
Which is the goal of a thumbnail, is to get people to
Right.
click on it. But
I
I
know.
don't try to do clickbait because I want them to be what the video is all about.
Yeah, it'd be like if I was there, like, in a bikini, washing a car all sudsed up or something, and then it's just you.
Wait for summer.
Chainsaw. Like, that would be
Right,
clickbait.
that would be
That would be
clickbait.
clickbait, just to get you to click on it, and the video had nothing to do with that. So, I don't know. I don't really care. That doesn't bother me. Not a lot of it bothers me. There's just a couple things where I'm like, ouch, that one kind of hurt a little.
And no matter what, when you don't let stuff bother
But-
you, it can still sort of bother you. Like, we're human. We're all human. So when we say it doesn't bother us, it might a little, but
I
it
mean,
doesn't
it's-
affect us.
no.
It might bother us, but it doesn't affect us.
Like when the one guy was like, why you keep putting this girl on your thumbnails? She's,
She's
mediocre
past her
at
prime.
best. And I was like, gosh, that kind of makes me question if I should be in the thumbnails anymore. Like, it does kind of like get in the back of your mind, but
So hopefully this podcast was somewhat informational and helpful, because that's what we're trying to do. You can sort of look into how we see things, how we view things, how we handle things. And if you have questions for us, don't be shy. Ask
No,
us, and we'll
ask
do
them.
what we can to help anybody we can. It doesn't matter who you are. Well, it matters who you are, but it doesn't matter how big your channel is. We're going to
Right.
help as many people as we can, because that's what we have started this channel for. And like I said earlier, the bigger we get, the more people we can help. And I have ideas that I'm like, man, if we get big enough, we could do this or we could do that. And I feel like someday, hopefully, we'll get there, because we continually strive to get better. But hopefully this helped you if you have a channel or are thinking about having a channel, or you don't think you're successful, or whatever it may be. Hopefully this is just a little bit of insight as to how
some things
we
to
handle
think
stuff.
about when you're running your own YouTube channel.
Whether it be comments or product placement or offers
tax
or
write-offs.
tax write-offs, like there's
Yeah.
a lot of benefits, there's a lot of cons,
lot of
there's a
things you
lot
don't
of
think
work,
about.
there's a lot of everything in having a YouTube channel, and we're going to try to share as much of it as we can. So if you have any questions for us specifically, feel free to leave them in the comments on the podcast, on the YouTube channel, on anything, and we'll do what
Yeah.
we can to answer them.
You can catch this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, where they play podcasts. Like, anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to this one. And
Or YouTube, which is our probably primary platform. We post our videos there, the podcasts are there, everything's on YouTube. So check it out, Hardworking Man on YouTube. Rachel and I, the kids, a little bit of everything we do, and a look into our lives, how we handle things, how we think about things, and how we deal with stuff.
all right, well, thank you all for watching
Or listening.
and interrupting, and we hope you have a good week.
Thanks, guys.